Matt Walsh is friends with politicians in Nashville, passing some of the most draconian laws on the planet, as he's billing himself as a Christian fascist who literally wants to turn the country into a white ethno-state Christian fascist theocracy. Guys, I want to talk about something really quick. We talk about this kind of tangentially, but I want to get into it more directly, mostly because I think it's important right now, especially going into another election cycle sometime soon. Yes, if you were still thinking about the 2022 election cycle, congratulations, we're about to hit the 2024 election cycle. Yep, it's coming, all right. Announcements are coming, things are coming, people are coming. I am not, because I'm scared for the safety of my people, my frogs. I'm not too super scared, but it is a bit worrisome. And what's the most worrisome, honestly, is what's the most worrisome, honestly, is how bad the GOP have gotten and how far right they become, and how they basically just become a TikTok version of the GOP. They have just been completely controlled by a far right, radical, religious extremist wing that is just completely ridiculous in all ways, shapes, and forms, right? And so I kind of wanted to talk about this really quick because, well, I want to say really quick. This may be a long video. I guess you'll find out once it's done, because it's just so interesting. The cult of the GOP. We kind of talked about how the GOP was a little bit of a cult back during COVID, a death cult specifically. And I still hold that view that they're still a death cult. Hearing big, well-known Republicans, local Republicans, national Republicans talk about how their voters are willing to die for freedom, and freedom, by that they mean not doing lockdowns, not doing social distancing, not wearing masks in public to keep other people safe, to keep people's, immunocompromised, the moms who've just went through chemotherapy safe, to keep people's grandmothers and grandfathers who are at the end of their, life, but still have some time left, for cutting those lives short, to stop from killing, them who may have a heart disease that they might not know about, or respiratory disease, or obesity, or diabetes, or any sort of, or stress, or, like kidney issues, like anything that could have possibly happened, to keep all those people safe. It's more important to give those people a deadly disease than it is to think about, be selfless for a moment in time and think about actually caring for other human beings. But I kind of want to go into it because the cult aspect, and I don't want to say after COVID because COVID is still around, but the cult aspect of the GOP has only gotten worse since January 6th, since Donald Trump. The Trumpification of the GOP is still around, and it's worse than ever. And they are cultier than ever. And the proof of that, I want to go over a couple of stories that I've been kind of sitting on that I hadn't had the opportunity to go over individually, that I could have probably went over individually, but I think they're better and hit harder when they're all together like this. And then you finally get like a full grasp of what the people are doing all across our country. And I think we'll start in DC, the epicenter of politics in our entire country. And in DC, this happened. During a GOP conference, House Republicans did a 15-minute fundraiser auction for chapstick used by Kevin McCarthy, Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The winner was Marjorie Taylor Greene, whose winning bid was $100,000. Her Spock's confirmed to me. What? Yes. Marjorie Taylor Greene bid for used chapstick, branded, Republican branded, used chapstick by Kevin McCarthy. And look at that shit-eating grin that they have. This is most sane Republicans. Most sane, nightmare, complete nightmare fuel. Yeah, this is the face that you see right before you get a McChicken thrown at you. POV, you're a 15-year-old working at McDonald's and you tell this lady that the ice cream machine is broken. The Titan smiles. She's the Lady Titan. And just so you know, yes, this is real. In a Political article, guess who just bid $100,000 for McCarthy's used chapstick? My question, where are they getting this money from to bid $100,000 for a tub of used chapstick? Sorry, for a tube of used chapstick. POV, your Memorial Day shift is about to become 10 times worse. Yeah. Yeah, this timeline. It's terrible, isn't it? Someone investigate this woman's finances. We did the other day. Milo Yiannopoulos stole $7,000 from her. Well, it seems like, I mean, like at the end of the day, it seemed like Milo was using it better than her. At least that $7,000 didn't go to spending $100K on a tube of used chapstick. You think she's gonna eat it? You think she's gonna go home and be like, yes, yeah, just like shove it down her, just like fucking gobble it down, like open it up the entire way. just walking around the house eating it like a banana. Oh, that is sick. What I really hope she does is she like swabs it and then puts it on a petri dish and then puts it in an incubator. So then she's able to get like the Kevin McCarthy DNA, and then she'll like be able to scrape some off and put some on her salad or something, just in case, you know. So she'll always be with him. I love how cucked. You know what's really funny is that like a lot of people say that AOC and the squad are cucked to Nancy Pelosi or like Hakeem Jeffries now. Bro, they have never been as cucked to like the Democratic establishment as like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was supposed to be like the rhino killer, is to the establishment and Kevin McCarthy. Okay, I'll tell you that much. This is a level of cuckage that I've never seen before. This is remarkable. This is remarkable. It really truly is. It like freaking Marjorie Taylor Greene would be sitting in. Marjorie Taylor Greene would be like sitting in the cuck chair in her own home, watching Kevin McCarthy fuck her now estranged husband. Just sitting there and watch as she eats the chapstick. My good sir, this is impeccable cuckoldry. Yeah, he really got him. He really got him hook, line, and sinker. They are leashed by the GOP a lot. And that's not the last with Marjorie either. The Republicans have been moving in a very strange direction on every issue concerning minorities, and one of the big ones is race.
I had to have so much security. There was not enough. I was swarmed. It's all on video. Everyone can see this. But I will tell you what's on video is Jamal Bowman shouting at the top of his lungs.
Just so you know, she's talking about what happened in New York when she was protesting against Donald Trump being arrested for the very real crimes that he committed against the state of New York. And then after she got chased off because people were like, we don't like you, go home, we don't like your kind, round these parts here, feller. And then got mad at Jamal Bowman for calling her a loser and telling her to go back to Georgia.
Cursing, calling me a horrible, calling me a white supremacist, which I take great offense to. That is like calling a person of color the N-word, which should never happen.
Okay, Marjorie. Very cool. Very cool, Marjorie. Very cool. Incredibly interesting, ma'am. Okay, white supremacist lady. Okay, Karen. It's like calling a black person the N-word. Yeah, 100%, bro. Yeah, 100%. Criticizing your political ideology that is literally calls for maintaining and keeping white people as the majority of the country. Because this is their country and they deserve to be the majority no matter what. Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, definitely, man. That's definitely what's going on here. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Sure. Wait, what is this?
Well, I wrote a joke for this awards show that had the word midget in it. And someone from the network came down to our offices and he said, no, midget is as bad as the N-word. First off, no. Do you know how I know it's not? I said to him, is because we're saying the word midget and we're not even saying what the N-word is. If you're comparing the badness of two words and you won't even say one of them, that's the worst word.
True and real. Listen, if you're like, oh, it's just literally the same word. I'm going to say this word over and over and over and over again. Like the N-word is so bad that I can't even utter it. Black people can't even utter it. Okay. there's a high likelihood that I can't even utter the N-word on like Twitch or YouTube. I can't say it. And listen, I'm a darkened boy. Okay. I will tell you what. I can't even say it. If I said it here, I'd get banned. And then if we make it into a video, the editors have to cut it. And I can't even let it's so bad, in fact, that I can't even let the editors touch it. Because once a white person tries to touch the N-word, they physically, it hurts them physically. Like, it actually burns their skin like everything else does. You know? They dissolve to dust. It's very sad. And so I have to literally do it for them. I got to put on the hazmat suit and like properly dispose of it for them if I leave it here. That's what I had to do when they were editing the video that when FD called in and he said the N-word. I had to get it for them. They couldn't handle it. They melt like man. Don't do it. They explode. It's like fentanyl for cops, you know? Pocket N-word. Hit them like they start to ugly cry. They start to ugly cough. You know that type of cough where your like eyes are popping out of your head, your tongue's out of your mouth, you're drooling, you're snotting. It's very sad. It's very sad. It's very, very sad. It can kill you. It's possible that it can kill you on direct contact. Now, some people may be like, well, Shark, then how are white people able to say it? They built up an immunity to it. Okay, it's like supervillains who become kings of poison by injecting themselves with small amount of poisons for years to build up an immunity to it. It's like that. They microdose the N-word until they have a perfect immunity, and then it could just like rattle off. Just whatever. It doesn't mean that it still doesn't hurt. A little bit of damage, It does a little bit of permanent damage, but still, you know what I mean? Say small slurs to build up your resistance to big slurs. Yeah. 100%. 100%. Everybody loves to compare the N-word to things. They forget about the severity of the N-word. Okay. The hundreds of years of human suffering that's behind the N-word or the K-word, or the T-word or the F-word as well. Words that we only describe by their first letter are not words that are as bad as white supremacists. It is bad to call somebody a white supremacist. Good. That's a good thing, though, because it should be a bad thing to be a white supremacist. And if you are one, you should stop as soon as possible. But speaking of N-words, Tim Scott, one of the only, the only black Republican senator in be careful what my gosh, Ali comes in the chat and it's watch it the second I try to have some memes, she walks in, watch it, my goodness, hey, watch it, my goodness, I can't have anything nice around here, I swear. Anyways, speaking of N-words, Tim Scott, the sole black Republican in the Senate, decided that it would be a great opportunity for him to run for president. And this is how it started.
Hello, North Charleston!
What? Hello, North Charleston! Oh, you set things up in a scary way. That's why I keep people watching. I make segments like authors make comic books. I gotta get you to turn the page every time. I gotta make a way to keep you to keep watching. There's so many videos on this godforsaken app. I gotta do something to keep you here. North Charleston.
Oh, North Charleston.
North Charleston. Oh yeah, this campaign's going crazy nutty. I still love how white this is as well. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. Listen, the wildest thing about it is that Biden is the only one that actually makes campaign gaffes work. Biden is the only one that has the Riz high enough to actually, like the old man Riz high enough to actually make like campaign gaffes and goofs actually work and be funny. Because soda, like that's a campaign gaffe, right? That's a campaign gaffe, and we love it. It's fantastic, you know. It's remarkable. Outside of Biden, honestly, nobody else is able to do it. Everybody else is oh, you know what it probably is? You know what I think it is? I think it's like the veneer of like seriousness that a lot of the politicians like to have, and the veneer of seriousness right over the veneer of normalcy, or the veneer of like being a normal human being, over the dried husk made of paper mache $100 bills that is their, you know, what they would call a body. You know, that thing, the aura. It's their whole aura. When they mess up, it's because they're trying to be normal. When Biden messes up, I don't know, it's just his dementia. it's just him being old. I mean, kind of same with Trump. But like Trump's gaffes didn't take him as far. Like they made him like a little more likable during his original run, but like after that, they become a lot more cynical and not as interesting. But when it comes to Biden, when Biden does something kooky, I'm like, oh hell yeah, that's my guy right there. Look at him. What a wacky boy. Look at him go. Minnesota. Wait. Corn Pop was a bad dude. He rolled around with bad. He really is a quirked up white boy. I think that's what really does it. These are all just cringed up white boys, but him being a quirked up white boy specifically is what I think really pushed him over the edge. Anyways, continuing on. Speaking of race again, the Republicans' just entire issue on race and getting mad at the NAACP for being, you know, very clear in actually very correct in their assumption and their assessment that a lot of conservative states at the moment, with their rules that they're passing and laws that they want to pass against like race and issues along those lines, it makes a lot of sense that a lot of black you would make an advisory that, hey, you know, minorities, you may not want to go to a place like this, which is very real and very true. We've covered so many Nazi groups, and a lot of them sprang up in Florida because they're not going to do anything about it. Florida actually encourages people to commit hate crimes. Remember that guy, that Trump supporter who did a burnout on that memorial to the Orlando nightclub shooting to like fuck it up, and then a bunch of conservatives were clapping like, let's go, fuck those homosexuals, let's go, should have killed more of them, let's go, you know. And it would make a lot of sense that I would say that, yo, you know, gay people, you probably don't want to go here. You probably don't want to hang out in a place like this, you know. Black people, you probably don't want to hang out in a place like this, especially since Florida just passed an abortion law. And hey, guess what types of people are more likely to die in guess what types of people are more likely to die in childbirth? Women, black women specifically. Like minority women have the highest highest pregnancy mortality of anybody in the country. And it's really bad in red states. So my question is, why in the world would I say that these types of people should be going to Florida when these are really very real problems that are very real affecting these people who are once again very real? And on that note, why in the world would I send people to places like Florida when they very clearly want to get rid of things like critical race theory, and their idea of critical race theory is like teachings about MLK and making laws that specifically are made to not make white people feel bad about bad things that have happened in the country that were perpetuated by people who kind of look like them a little bit, you know? Once again, for the people who didn't hear about this law, bill banned lessons making white students feel discomfort advances in Florida Senate. A Florida Senate committee on Thursday advanced a bill that would prohibit making white people feel discomfort when taught or trained about the past discrimination in public schools or private businesses. Bill SB 148 would prevent school educators from teaching subjects that could make students feel responsible for historical wrongs based on their race, sex, or national origin. It's just nobody's doing that. They're just telling you that white people did bad things. Okay, you going, oh, so you're saying I did bad things? Shut up. And yes, you did bad things. I don't know when and where, but you definitely did them. I know that much. Did you do slavery? I mean, probably not. But come on. And this, mind you, this is the response that Republicans and yes, Tulsi is Republican here. I'm going to just call her that because she just is. Republicans have to people's very valid concerns about race. Oh, also, before I do that, I want to like take away my camera here for a second, just to give you a little, just in the bottom corner, little Tim Scott. You know what? I'm going to keep my camera off just so you can like look at this all at once. Little Tim Scott with these words coming out of Tulsi's mouth.
So frankly, there's a positive and negative to this story. The negative, of course, is the NAACP is racializing and weaponizing racism for political benefit.
Oh, just in case you missed that.
The NAACP is racializing and weaponizing racism.
The NAACP is racializing racism. The NAACP made racism woke. It's the NAACP. They're a little political organization that focuses on race. She's just POV. You're literally just racist. Complete word salad. Makes absolutely no sense. I can't believe they made racism about race. Don't you guys think that is so sad? It is so sad and it's so unfortunate how this is what we have to deal with these days. Racism is all about race to them. It's sick. How sick. Absolutely disgusting, mind you. I am distraught. Yeah, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People keeps making race about race, and I just don't know how to move forward. We can't move forward like this. We can't move forward as a country like this. Black people got to get over the whole like racism thing at some point in time. I mean, come on. How are we going to bring the country together if you're going to? How are we going to bring the country together if you're going to keep talking about how bad we are when it comes to race, huh? How are we going to bring the country together if you keep talking about how we have the worst possible opinions on race and they make you very sad? Huh? Come on, cut us some slack. Not everybody can be not racist. That's a really hard bar to cross. Not everybody can not make life worse for brown people specifically. That's a really high bar. Come on. Cut us some slack. Come on, let us go. Come on, let me in. Also, yeah, I consider her white. I think she's like part native Hawaiian or like a full native Hawaiian. I don't know, but yeah, she's like she should leave. She's been whitewashed. She's been white pilled. Sorry. A little bit of racism as a tree. As a tree. Moving on to other types of people. Take a look at this. With the culty nature of the GOP recently. Bud Light has become so toxic, people are getting attacked. A couple assaulted outside of liquor store over suspected Bud Light purchase. Can we just talk about this for a second? Can we just like think about this for a moment? Couple assaulted outside of liquor store suspected of Bud Light purchase. So Republicans have ginned up their audience to be so fucking transphobic that they are sending out their goons like flying monkeys to go attack people who they think might have thought about buying Bud Light. That's remarkable, isn't it? People are getting attacked, and people are getting attacked. We're sending people to attack you is what he meant to say. And he thinks it's really funny as well. And this isn't even me like doing hyperbole here. He genuinely, unironically believes that it's funny. So funny, in fact. Let me pull up this video for you.
I'm just saying, look, like it's just, I think if you did have a lunatic who had posted a couple clips from Tim's show, obviously it goes without saying that doesn't make Tim at all culpable for the behavior of that lunatic.
The guy wasn't even subscribed.
So, yeah.
The clips show he wasn't even subscribed to the channel.
He wasn't even subscribed, dude.
It's funny, and I really just don't care. I think we've won so much ground in the culture war that it is completely meaningless that they would even do it, assuming it was a psyop.
It's funny. It's funny. What he's speaking of is a shooter, a Texas shooter, the Allen, Texas shooter, being a Tim Pool fan. And he thinks it's funny that he'd be a Tim Pool fan because he genuinely thinks that he's gotten himself so much clout by being correct on political issues recently that he can expend the political capital, not only having his name tied to mass murder, but also having his name tied to hate crimes as well. So this is what these people are. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's all a psyop and it's all funny. It's haha teehee funny to be connected to hate crimes and mass murder. He's gotten so much political clout now that, we can just kill as many people as we want because we aren't going to have any repercussions for killing people because we're too base now. We've hated trans people so much that we have so much goodwill amongst the American people that what are a couple of dead children to the overarching goal of putting an end to a minority group that I don't like, right? Wild, isn't it? Truly remarkable. And he thinks that this is actually Bud Light and the left's fault that they're getting attacked. Oh, if you just weren't trans, and if you just weren't, sick, and if I just didn't hate you, if you weren't so hateable, then, I wouldn't have to laugh at you getting assaulted. Sorry. Wonder why. I wonder why that's happened. I wonder why. On top of that, to watch how culty this shit is, Mr. I hate trans people himself had this to say about the Bud Light boycott. Take a look at this.
I never personally participated in the Bud Light boycott because I was never a Bud Light customer to begin with on the.
It's just, guys, we gotta boycott Bud Light. We gotta boycott Bud Light. Really, we gotta do it like really hard, dude. We gotta boycott Anheuser-Busch. Did I do it? Nah. I never. That was for you guys. That was for the plebeian. As these people sit in their on top of their ivory towers and golden thrones, looking down at the little shitter poor ass Republicans who they talk to all day and all night, about how they should be ruling their life and putting themselves in danger as they don't do anything about it. Matt Walsh is rich. Ben Shapiro is rich. Tim Pool is rich. Elon is rich. He's asking these people to go be their little foot soldiers and get themselves killed, get themselves be put in danger, get their children put in danger, estrange themselves from their whole family, to indoctrinate, to be pushed farther and farther right, to be put in jail, prison, killed for this project that they're pushing onto them, when at the end of the day, they're not engaged in it at all. All they do is reap the benefits of human suffering. And that's how they move forward in the world. That's what they do. That's the cult. That's the death cult of the Republican Party. That is the death cult of the GOP. Tucker Carlson is rich. Tucker Carlson was on near every single freaking Bufu Egypt buttfuck nowhere back road of the Midwest and the South and everywhere. He was on their TVs. He was on people's dads and moms, elderly dads and moms and grandpas' TVs everywhere. Okay, telling them how they should rule their life, telling them how their life should be ran, telling them that the elites and this and that and whoever are the ones coming after them and their children as they try to scare them into holding their gun and rocking back and forth in their rocking chairs. They watch a trans person walk by and they see a taco truck park on their street as they run out the back with them and their children's future. As they run out of the back with with having the future of having a livable planet that isn't completely flooded and is burning hot. Running out with having affordable healthcare and affordable drugs that you could just purchase without any want or care or worry. As they run out of the back with affordable education and the future to be able to buy a home and start a family and keep a family without having to stress all day and all night about their future and being able to pay for them tomorrow. Not having to worry about where you're going to rest your head. And they want you to risk your life. They want you to risk your future. They want you to risk your money, your family, your well-being for their project of hating other people. They want your family, your mom, your grandpa, your whoever to risk their life. This man has never put his neck on the line for anything. He's filthy fucking rich. Just like the rest of them. They get rich off of your suffering or people who you know suffering, random people suffering. And then they take it home. They laugh all the way to the bank. They have all the connections. They have it on easy mode. Matt Walsh is friends with politicians in Nashville, passing some of the most draconian laws on the planet as he's billing himself as a Christian fascist who literally wants to turn the country into a white ethno-state Christian fascist theocracy. You really think that's going to take care of you and your family? You really think that you would have done worse off in 2023 than you would have in 1693 with like the goddamn fucking Inquisition around? You really think you would have done well with your daughter getting fucking burned at the stake in his Christian theocracy? You think so? This is a Christian speaking. My name's Christian even. I am personally religious, not like these people. And then they wonder, and then they cry and bitch and moan about why nobody wants to be religious anymore, why everybody's running away from the religion that they grew up in. I wonder why, that you turn it into this completely toxic, disgusting mess, this amorphous blog amalgamation of hatred and fear that you use to bludgeon people to death you don't like. I think it says a lot. I think it says a lot. I think it says a lot about how and why these people are never actually going to get what they actually want. At the end of the day, they are demons and they'll be put down as such. I think so personally. But that depends on you and me actually doing work, making this country better. It depends on you and me. Moving on. On top of this, on top of the literal terrorism, mind you, I don't want to like mince any words here. What Republicans are doing and pushing for now is terrorism by the very definition of the word. I'm not stretching this definition. This is terrorism. Target reportedly taking down pride displays after forgetting how the lesbian target demographic is so strong in this cliche. In this it's so strong it's a cliche, right? I mean, there are a lot of people who really women love Target. Do I have any women in chat? Can you tell me why women love Target? There's something about like the girls in Target that is just like blowing my mind. I don't get it. I got a lot of girls in my life and all of them absolutely love Target, go to Target and buy so much shit and then come back with a bunch of useless shit. The girlies love Target. It has everything. Eiley, are you a Target girl? Rocker, are you also a Target girl? Women be targeting? They honestly really do. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. It has good clothes. My goodness. I work at Target and it drives me insane. What, the girls who come in and just buy a bunch of stuff? Target just feels nice. Okay. My wife loves the clothes. Getting a Target girl wife does sound like it would go pretty nutty mode. My Target wife. I love my Target wife. Anyways, the girlies love Target and the girlies also love gay people. And so I don't think that this is really going to work out that much. Them trying to boycott them. Now, I will say it may work if you do terrorism instead, which is one of the big reasons that Target is saying that they're like taking down this merchandise, not because they're agreeing with their fucking bigotry, which they probably do. I mean, they're Target after all. They're massive donors to the Republican Party at the end of the day. Which is, I think at the end, this is just super funny to me because Disney personally bankrolled Ron DeSantis's Florida governorship campaign back in 2018. They personally bankrolled it. Like Bob Iger and the rest of them personally, like the company personally gave money, maxed out their donation to Ron DeSantis to put him in the governorship because they thought that they were going to get good, tax breaks. And then all of a sudden, the insanity took hold as they try and say that we have the woke mind virus. Bro, you have the fucking fascist mind virus. Okay, I'll be cursed with the woke mind virus any day of the week, as long as it's not the fucking fascist mind virus. Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? I know you are. That's why you're acting like this. right? Ron Sanity, right? They're pushing, and now it's because at the end of the day, fiction and reality are going to have to come into contact when you're in politics. If you're just some random form shit poster, your reality will almost never come into contact with fiction. These are two perfectly parallel lines that will never ever cross. But when you're in politics, when you have to do something that actually has something to do with the real world, they're no longer parallel, they're perpendicular. They're going to meet at some point. It may be tomorrow, it may be a month from now, it may be years from now. When it comes to Disney, it was over 6 years from then. From 2018 to 2022 is when they really started to ramp up. That's when the danger started to tick up. But it will happen at some point in time. Supporting these people, even for these companies, will no longer be as profitable or as good as they once thought it was, because now they're going to be pushing little terrorist campaigns against their companies for stepping out of line, even though they can't be listen, they want to vote, vote and like push forward Republicans because they're going to give them as many tax breaks as they want, but they're going to appeal to socially liberal and like progressive and leftist people because that's what makes money. That's what brings in the money. So the like liberal and leftist people bring in the money. The conservatives help them keep the money, and that's how they play this game. And that's where the term actual virtue signaling comes in. When companies all go drape all of their oppressive shit that they're pushing in a rainbow flag. When June, July, which one's the gay month? Which one's the gay homosexual month? June is the mega gay month. Okay, thanks for reminding me. Thank you. When June, what the fuck was I saying before this? I lost my train of thought. How long is his governorship term? I think 6 years, if I remember correctly. I believe 6 years. So he won't be up for re-election until 2028, if I remember correctly. The gay. How companies make and keep money using left. Yes, okay. Anyway, this is where the real idea of virtue signaling comes in. Because this is how companies roll, you know? They'll signal their virtue of loving gay people, but then vote for the party that wants to put them in the ground. It's interesting how that works out, isn't it? But the literal terrorism that these people are pushing, literal terrorism by definition, violence, political violence against civilians specifically for their own aim and for their own gain. This is terrorism by its very definition. Attacking people for buying alcohol that was branded to like a one trans person's TikTok account once, and assaulting people because they buy their kid a shirt with they buy their baby a shirt with a rainbow on it is wild to me. These are the type of people who would pull out their AR-15s and start shooting them into the air after a sun shower and a rainbow comes out, because they think that now the left is shoving homosexuality down their throat by putting rainbows everywhere, even after rain. No, we have no respite. We have no respite, not at all. Sag. And more on Tim Pool and his literal fascism. Once again, here's a little bit more of this. His actual opinions on LGBT people and him congratulating his audience on what they've been up to.
Lives, but the left doesn't care. Short-term gains, long-term losses. You know, conservatives tend to be more about the long-term gains with short-term investment.
I don't think that this is true, considering, I mean, just look at how the country has moved from like the 1960s to today. It's much further left than it has been. Unless you think that like they invest in long-term gains, but they don't get any of the long-term gains, because as countries move forward in time, they become less conservative typically. Unless something really bad happens, and then like they can become more conservative for a short time, and then later, as later generations move up and then move into the country, things change. The only time that can typically change is I think in the UK it changed a little bit because of some things, and also in Israel it's also changing a little bit because of breeding patterns. Like the conservatives are like breeding like rabbits. They're pumping out babies crazy fast. And they want to indoctrinate them into radical Jewish orthodoxy as fast as possible until they can like never break free from their grasp. right? So they, basically do that thing where they fucking shoot like Palestinian children in the head, then move into their home and then squat there and then tell the Israeli government that they're a part of Israel, and then another home gets scooped up from the Palestinians and into broader Israel. But whatever, I guess. Anyways, back to this.
And that's why, no matter what you do, I think nature is taking the reins on this one. Whether or not you target boycotts entirely, whether or not you boycott Target, you boycott Target is entirely up to you. As for what's happening in this country, as horrified as you may be, no matter what you do, eventually this problem won't exist anymore. Either because the people have sterilized themselves and then they age out, they get older and then they don't reproduce, or because your activism puts an illegal end to it. The end result can only be one thing. This ideology can't persist. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes.
Just so you know, this is him talking about the complete extermination of trans and gay people. That's what he's asking for. That's what he's talking about. His hope for the future is for the complete social and political extermination of trans and gay people on planet Earth and broadly, but America more specifically. Liberal. Listen, I'm telling you guys, all of these people genuinely believe that trans people were invented in 2016 and gay people were invented in 2015 in an underground bunker in a collaboration effort between Antifa and the Obama administration to make life sad, to make the world sad, and to make life unfortunate for Republicans. That's what they at this point, I think that's what I can't think of any other reason for why they believe this. Trans people have existed since time immemorial, since before time. As long as humans exist, trans people exist. As long as creatures exist, transness has existed. They turned the friggin' frogs gay, okay? They can turn the friggin' fish gay, okay? So like, what are you talking about? But yeah, I genuinely think that they think that like trans people were invented in gay people were invented in 2015 to make Republicans feel bad. And then that wasn't enough. So then they made trans people to make them feel really, really bad. And so that's when they came from, and they can just make them disappear again, because before 2016, trans people didn't exist. And so after 2023, trans people won't exist again. It's just completely ridiculous. They've always existed. They've always been pushing for their rights all the way ever since from the long time before. Before the Nazis came to power, Germany was one of the biggest fucking places studying trans people on the planet. And especially in like especially in like the Western world, Germany was doing crazy things before World War II at least. But I think people like Tim Pool would praise the Nazi government for their eradication of trans people and their ideology from the country. It did great things for Germany, right? I mean, listen, after Germany decided to get rid of trans people, they went perfect. They did great, right? They won so many wars. They won war after war after war. And then and they're still around today because they did such a great job. But the countries that, embraced trans people and decided not to claim that a large portion of their population are demons that must be eradicated because they kind of look a little different and act a little different, those ones are gone, like all of our sister nations, gone, disappeared, never exist again, right guys? Right. So true. At the real end of the day, these guys are the ones whose ideology is going to die out and burn, because existing as trans isn't an ideology. It's a state of being. It's like trying to get rid of plasma as a state of matter. It's not going to happen. All of my trans people are the star plasma vessel, okay? And they cannot be created and they cannot be destroyed. They simply are. They can be changed forcefully, but they cannot be created and they cannot be destroyed. You can't create trans people. You can't destroy trans people. People will be trans. You can make them hide. You can make them be, you can make them hide. You can push them into the shadows. You can deport them. You can do whatever you want. You're not going to get rid of trans people. That's not going to happen. Not real. People were just simply born. And that's that. And so trans people do not breed other trans people or something. I don't know if they think that like trans people are kind of like sea cucumbers. Like when a trans person goes to get like a bottom surgery or a top surgery, the doctors then take the piece of flesh that they scooped off and then they put it into like a little incubator, and then another trans person spawns from that, and then they do another bottom surgery, and then they just do it again, and that's how trans people reproduce. I don't know if that's how they think trans people reproduce or something. They do it asexually, and they and then you have like a big trans army or something. I don't know. I don't think so. As far as I know, I mean, I don't spend that much time around trans people in like real life. I don't know any trans people in real life, but I'm pretty sure that's not how that works. Pretty sure that's not how that works. I don't think trans people are like looking for trans breeding centers. You know what I mean? Get your mind out of the gutter. Where they like develop more trans people out of like thin air scientifically in a lab or something. We actually cell divide? Oh, crazy. Crazy. Yeah, just add water. Grow your own trans at home. Well, it's like one of those like bathtub toys that you put in the bathtub and fill with water, and it goes from like really tiny to like really big. Just add Monster. You can have your own trans person a day. You can like buy them in the mail, get like a package of them, throw them in the bathtub. So true. Insta-trans. The Insta-trans. Oh, the Insta-trans is crazy. And you can't even trust Democrats on this, okay? Democrats. I'm telling you, I was going to be doing a segment sometime soon. I was going to title it Democrats Aren't Your Friends. They're not your friends. Democrats simply are not your friends. You can't just trust them. Don't trust Democrats, okay? I'm not a liberal. So like as how bad the Republicans have come off, I haven't been able to even talk about the idea of like workers' ownership of the means of production, or like Marxism, or like, not post-Marxism or something, or other modes of like anti-capitalist or post-capitalist socioeconomic ways to structure society. I haven't even been able to talk about that because I'm just trying to save people from freaking dying because of Republican policies, all right? Or at least talk about it a little bit to make you aware of it, to do something. So a lot of people like think that a lot of new frogs think that I'm liberal or something, mostly because I haven't been able to talk about these issues. But like, I'm not liberal, okay? I'm further left than that. I'm not progressive. I'm even further left than that. I'm not just like a liberal progressive. I am a progressive, but I'm a socialist progressive, all right? And you and Democrats aren't your friends. Never have, never will be your friends. The Democrats are simply a corporation masking themselves as somebody who's here to help you. They're not here to help you. Your average Democrat is not necessarily here to help you. Your average Democrat is here to keep their seat and make money, okay? At the end of the day, that's what they're there for. And so if that's the case, my question is, why would you trust your average Democrat? You don't. That's the answer. You don't. And proof of that, not saying every Democrat is like this, and I'm not saying don't vote. I'm not saying any of these things. I want to be clear. What I'm telling you is that you need to look deeply into the politician that you're voting for. Don't just vote down ballot, even though at the end of the day, having any Democrat in office is usually orders of magnitude better than having any Republican in office. Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, and now another one, this North Carolina congressperson, is another person that's another reason for why you can't just trust these people. They're politicians at the end of the day, not your friends. Take it, Chris.
Why did she change her position on abortion? Fine, you're a Republican now. Why did you change your abortion position so radically?
Just so we're understanding what's happening here. This Democrat was voted into office in 2022. Okay, November 2022. She took office in January 2023. A week later, changed parties from Democrat to Republican, changed all of her political positions from Democrat to Republican, from left wing to far right, just like that, instantly. And the reason why she did it is to give the Republicans a supermajority so they can pass an anti-abortion law without having to worry about the governor like striking it down, or the Democrats stopping it. And so that's why she did what she did. She lied to her constituents to get into office, to force in a radical anti-abortion law that nobody in the state wanted for her own personal gain and money. genuinely sick. And honestly, I think is grounds to be put in jail for minimum 10 years.
Like, what changed in 5 months from a Democrat who has spoken movingly about her own abortion and reproductive rights, who supports codifying Roe v. Wade, who's a co-sponsor on legislation listed on the state website to this day, to a Republican who voted to override a congressional gubernatorial veto for a 12-week abortion ban that only a third of voters want? What happened? We got nothing.
Money.
She owes that explanation to the people of her state, to the voters in the 112th district, who sent a Democrat who wanted to protect Roe and abortion to the state house, a woman who just put a 12-week abortion ban on the books.
I love Chris. I love Chris. I wish I could talk to him at some point in time. Chris Hayes is such a card. He's such a character. I love him. He does such good work on the show. Not perfect. I'm further left than him, but he does some real good work on his show. If there's anybody that you were going to watch on like mainstream on mainstream news, Chris is definitely it. And honestly, I would probably say like Chris is kind of only it outside of everybody else. My bad. Sorry. Mehdi Hassan also does very fantastic work when it comes to just like mainstream TV. Honestly, like MSNBC is the only place that I would go for like to get like talking head vibes. And sorry, that would go to listen to some talking heads. They're the only two really putting out like the good work that I know of at the moment. There are probably some out there, but everybody else is kind of cringe and a loser and not great and kind of old, right? Somebody may be doing like okay work. I think like Matthews, that's his name. I think he does decent work. Maddow is for the wine moms. So, if you're not one of them yet, probably won't be watching her too much. I'm shocked that's allowed. Hey, he gets the views. Chris gets the views. At the end of the day, listen, like him talking out, listen, he doesn't get too far. He doesn't get too far off. I mean, he doesn't go as far as John Oliver. Okay. So if John Oliver can still be, I don't want to say controlled opposition necessarily, but if John Oliver can still be, on TV and on HBO to, Warner Bros. Discovery, Chris Hayes can as well. But Oliver definitely pushes the boundaries, but he makes them a lot of money. So it's very hard for them to just let him go because he makes a lot of money. John Oliver's hiding his power level. I think Chris Hayes is also hiding his power level, and I think it's fantastic because that means he's further left, which means he's an even better guy than I think he is, which is based in Pogpilled, I must say. But yeah, she basically pulled a cinema. They basically pulled a cinema. I think this was Cinnamon Mansion. When it comes to Mansion, I think Mansion's I think Mansion and Cinema are different. Mansion was always like that. Mansion was always going to build himself like this. I don't think Mansion really changed much. Honestly, I think Mansion actually moves a little bit to the left. It like works for the Democrats more than I think he propositions himself as when he's running versus when he's in office. Cinema is just like a horrible person. Cinema is just like purposefully lying to her audience. Can somebody please tell Cinema that she's literally lying to her audience? Yeah, Manchin was always a blue dog conservative Dem. He was always like that. Cinema lies. Cinema belongs in federal prison. Has Cinema ever spoken to a constituent? No, but she did run from some constituents before. She hid in the bathroom, yeah.
Yes, yet on the version that just passed the House of Representatives, what changes do you want to make?
Well, folks know I don't negotiate in the press, so I'm not going to do that with you.
Systematically overvalued properties like mines and netted investors hefty deductions.
Oh my goodness.
Firm that they break. The process of appraising the value of the land.
Oh my goodness. What is this? I thought they were just going to play the video. Where's this video? Here we go. Thank you, media today. Kristen Sinema ambushed by activists. Yeah, man. Kristen Sinema confronted by her constituents who she hasn't spoke to in 5 years. Ambushed by activists.
A tense airport greeting.
You know that you're part of the negotiations.
As Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema returned to Washington. flanked by police as progressive activists followed, demanding the Democratic moderate support the president's sweeping spending bill for.
Yep. And then she just ran. Didn't speak to any of them, just pretended they didn't exist and then ran away because, listen, money talks and it's way louder than human lives. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it. Thank you, Boo.